Now I know what you're thinking. We're in Valhalla right now with the recent changes. New heroes, map updates, viewership booming for our favorites, plus big streamers coming back into the fold. Halloween event on the horizon. This is the come up Deadlock deserves. And frankly, you probably had to deal with this rat much because the amount of hero diversity that's now in the game. But I'm here to bring you back to reality. The cutthroat critical world that is the MOBA genre. That being that Shiv is, and always has been, clearly the most overloaded kit in the game. Just compare him to our new friends that have hit the mean streets in New York. For the most part, Valve is not initiating the power creeping balancing strategy.
Are you sure about that?
For the most part, the heroes that have come out have been well balanced compared to other MOBAs. Shiv will need a rework to fit the model of these characters, and here's why. Shiv is the only character in the game that's been unbalanced since his release. It's becoming abundantly clear that Shiv needs an overhaul or at the very least an extensive rework. The kit itself is just hitting too many bases at once. It really doesn't even have a theme. Take Abrams for example. All his abilities tie into one another to fit the overarching theme of a punching bruiser. Slam enables your drain and punching, and your biggest weakness of short range can be negated with a well-timed ult to gap close on a fair cooldown and cast time. Or investing in mobility options to take away from your damage output or tankiness. Even with his base numbers being overtuned, all in all he feels fair to play against, and slightly unfair if the pilot has the mechanics to pull off some of his one-shot combos, but is still squishy because of these build choices. Shiv, on the other hand, has realistically everything. A bleed, a dash with a cooldown cut, a damage deferral that can get up to 40% damage negated on top of deferred, a point and click dash that has 20% max HP execute, or base 200 damage, execute that can reset on a kill, and a gun with an alt fire with movement potential for the cherry on top. And if you're saying, oh yeah, that's a pretty solid kit, oh wait, there's more. All of these abilities have an enhanced version depending on how much rage you have built up, which, wait for it, builds up by fighting, also known as playing the game. Frankly, excluding his knife throw, any of these abilities could be the centerpiece of a hero's kit, and yet this hero's getting all three, and a great poke option. This is just absurd. Another point I don't hear talked about a lot is how this overloaded kit plays into how the item system works in Deadlock. Since the release of the new shop and subsequent tuning, we've actually seen a reduction in the amount of build diversity you can pull off for almost all heroes. Of course, you can play a fun, unique build, but if we're talking about being competitively viable, it seems pretty clear that diversity has taken a big hit as of right now. Except for one sly goblin. Shiv was initially building a hybrid spirit vitality build that was focused on poke and burst, then abused punch builds once punch was discovered to be overtuned, then started going a full vitality unkillable build. After that, a gun build with the most overtuned vitality items with a sprinkling of radiant regeneration or a cheeky silence wave, and as of late, I've mostly seen a return to the poke spirit build with the appropriate vitality items. The reason Shiv has been able to maintain build diversity and dodge item nerfs is simply because his kit fits so many different paths. When you have this many tools at your disposal, you have so much more flexibility in what you can pull off. Whatever items are too overtuned at the time, Shiv can fit his kit around these items with few exceptions. When you take, for example, a character like Kelvin, who has a very strong, unique kit, the reality is, if you nerf spirit and support vitality items, Kelvin will struggle as his abilities are directly tied to spirit damage and healing. Again, you can build gun and try to flex away from this hypothetical nerf, but it doesn't change the fact that you'll be getting a lot less value from your abilities, in exchange for more gun damage. Whereas with Shiv, you're getting that flat 40% damage negated no matter what, as long as you're dual enough to build up the rage. Why is this the case? No one really knows. Now I want to be clear, because as you can see, the Shiv mains have already gotten to me. I'm not saying you can't just cut the limbs of the beast and let its pick rate fall into oblivion. We're talking about balance here. Having phases of the game where the hero feels weak, but in the right conditions can really shine. I understand if Shiv isn't the strongest laner in the game, but I think saying the hero with this many options in lane is weak is some hardcore copium. The reality is, once this hero gets souls, he's an absolute demon. There's just too much packed into this kid for us to pretend like it's an efficient use of time to constantly be tweaking his numbers, trying to find the perfect equilibrium that would be Shiv in a perfectly balanced state for this hero. And let's not even get into how impossible it will be with all the changes that'll happen around the hero, like item tuning and overall game balance. But I think you get my point here. With open beta seeming like it's on the horizon, I'm praying for Christmas or Q1 of 2026, pretty hopeful, and a lot of core gameplay loops being ironed out, I can't think of a more perfect time to try Deadlock's first ever hero rework. I know it seems early, but hey, what's an early development phase 4 if not taking big swings and seeing what sticks? Especially when it involves the game's most infamous hero. At the end of the day, though, I appreciate your time, as always. I greatly appreciate your sub or like if you enjoyed what I was talking about today, and happy queuing. Disposal, you have so much more flexibility in what you can pull off. Whatever items are too overtuned at the damage, the execute can reset on a kill, and a gun with an alt fire with movement potential on the cherry for the cherry on top. Now, Shiv on the other, much in recent games because of the hero diversity that exists in the game now. But I'm here to bring you back. The reason Shiv has been able to maintain build diversity and dodge item nerfs is simply because his kit fit.